We are getting started about 10 minutes late. I hate that, but we do need to get started so we can get finished. Some people are still signing in. So let's call this meeting to order. Lyman, if you will give us our invitation, everybody please stand, please.
I do not choose to be a common man. It is my right to be uncommon. I seek opportunity for my superior. I want to take the calculated risk to dream and to fulfill, to fail and to succeed. I refuse to barter incentives for gold. I prefer the challenge of life to guaranteed security, the thrill of fulfillment as the state economy took. I will not trade freedom for fidelity, nor my dignity for a handout. I will never cower before any master save my God. It is my heritage to stand erect, proud, and unafraid, to think and act for myself, enjoy the benefit of my creation, to face the whole world boldly and say, I am a free American.
Thank you. Okay. The first item on the agenda is recognition of elected officials. I saw Mac. Elected officials, would you like to say anything, sir?
Well, I told them we got something here for and I want to get okay. I'm not going to be able to say things alone, but if your bad luck, we'll be doing the sign and die this Thursday at 5 o'clock. Now what that means, they will be included in that sign and die probably 4 or 5 different issues. One of them being cyber security, which I have some major issues with, but if it's not in that sign and die, and we come back for a week or two, then we will not be able to take it up. So the sign and die will include a few things. I'm going to take just 1 minute to tell you my problem with the security, cyber security. On one hand, we're talking about a Department of Administration. The proposal we got from one of the 6 big accounting firms says to set up a chief operating officer position with 34 positions to deal with the cyber security. The salaries range from $65,000 to $165,000. If there's one area which should end up under the Department of Administration, it should be the ISD department. And they put it under the budget control and of recommending setting it up under the Department of Administration, or at least getting the Department of Administration started. I briefly looked through the information. It's just full of all kinds of holes. It's got the head person reporting to 3 different people. One functional, one performance-wise, and then a committee that's supposed to make it happen. I don't know how you come about this. It's big government, it's big business. You should take about 6 or 7 people, and they can handle setting the direction as far as technology is concerned, as far as training is concerned, as far as identifying what files and hardware needs to be secured. So I took the information of government. I plan on proposing it if they haven't changed it, it's bad, very, very bad. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Is there any other elected officials? Any other elected officials present? County, city, statewide? Anyone would like to say something? Okay. Representatives from campaigns. I know it's kind of early for next year's campaign season, but it has already started in some corners of the world. Mike, you wanted to say anything?
I'm Mark Osofsky from Aiken, South Carolina. In 2007, I didn't know what congressional district I lived in. By 2009, I was running in a race for Congress. And one of the people I ran against in that race, that was the third congressional district, was Richard Taft. Richard Taft went on to win the primary. He lost a close runoff to Jeff Duncan. Richard just decided he was going to challenge Lindsey Graham. He's officially in the race running. And I would dearly like to talk to any of you tonight before you leave. If I can't talk to you, take one of the brochures, go to his website, Richard Taft Center, see what you think about it. Thanks very much.
Next item on the agenda is Chairman's commentary. I have very little to say other than I think we've been, the last 2 months have been pretty whirlwind for me, and I'm sure they have for Lexington, DOP, and the number here, but we've had some outstanding work done by some of the folks in this party for the county and the state convention. And I know we've verbally recognized them before, but we have some certificates here of appreciation. First, I'd like to say, this is for outstanding services rendered during reorganization. This is a certificate of appreciation to Craig Paulson. Also, a certificate of appreciation to Mike Green for outstanding services rendered during the reorganization. Certificate of appreciation to Mr. Curry Finch for his help during the convention. I don't know if he's here, but Rebecca Shadwell, are you here? There she is. Folks, we got some hard-working, smart, long-suffering people in our party here. We've got a lot of diversity of thought, and I think that's great because when everybody thinks the same, nobody thinks very much, kind of like a Democrat. Okay? With that said, I'll start reports as the vice chair, see if they have any. First vice chair, report. Okay, second vice chair. Okay, third vice chair. You have some things about us. Yeah, go ahead. Well, would you rather bring it during the business? Okay, all right. Membership chair report. Thank you, Linda.
Thank you so much. We have a new category this time. You'll see listed on the membership tab. We decided for anybody 65 and over, you can have a reduced rate for life membership. Right now, I'm for life membership is 65. I'm going to pay for it. What are you doing now? So we said that was the thing to do. So if anybody has not joined us, we have a volunteer.
Nobody can hear you over here on this side.
Okay, so we have a volunteer, if you want to sign up tonight, the membership for 2013. 65 and over, instead of $1,000, you can join life membership at $750. And I'm sure a lot of it's going to be around that. Now, goes in the hat twice, you win $50. You bring in 10, your name goes in the hat 3 times, so a chance to win $100. And somebody has donated $174 from the Creekside Restaurant. We prepare cards for all the members. And on those cards, we have our website. Everything will be on the website that you need to know. Just say call, email, catching somebody on the street, everything's gonna be right there. That's on your membership card, so nobody will forget it, right? Okay, I think that concludes my report.
Thank you. Bill Cracker, do you have a report you want to give to the Cracker?
Can or we can refer to the next letter.
Let me go ahead. Yeah, with acoustics, if you'd rather pass something out or.
Yeah, it's a little difficult to hear. Good evening, everyone. My name's Bill Cracker, and I was asked to be chairman of our RAC, the Republican Adherence Committee. I want to recognize the other members on the committee. Lyman Whitehead, is Jim Wellman here? Lee Canday, Joyce Mize, Ross Snell, and Bill Rentiers was on the committee, but now in his new role, he's going to have to step aside. So we did make a decision prior to the conventions relative to a legislative question that came up dealing with concealed weapons permits carried on public schools. Rather than maybe try to move the core acoustics where they are here today, we will post this on our website for everyone to read, and just to present it, it is an opinion statement on the basis of the RAC. Please read it, and we will discuss it later in the next meeting. I will mention and thank the RAC members for their involvement, but this was a unanimous decision. So please look for it on the website.
All right. Okay. Wayne, do you have a report or anything you want to say?
No, I'll just say real quickly, sorry I missed the meeting last month. I was on a long-planned family trip to discover our heritage in Sicily, so I was unfortunately not able to make it. We do have our first state committee meeting since I've been elected coming up this weekend, so we should have something to report next month. Thank you.
Thank you, Dwayne. Dino Takara has asked for a little bit of time to speak about IRS targeting of conservative groups. Dino?
Thanks, Chairman Rentiers. I asked if I could come out and speak on 2 issues. Number one was the targeting of the IRS. I was actually part of a group that was in that target. I didn't realize it at the time. But it took 7 years to get our exemption, our request approved by the IRS. It all happened in 2009, 2010. It didn't come out of Cincinnati, it all came out of DC. We had 2 lawyers who charged us $5 an hour who did pro bono work to help us get our exemption. It was 2 years of questions, of letters. They sent us a letter. I filed 30 answers. They come back with more questions. They sent another letter. Went back and forth for 2 years. We finally got the exemption, but by that time, so many of our members were concerned about the IRS that they were targeted. The group kind of just melted away. So we got our exemption. We won the battle, but we lost the war because after 7 years, our membership basically just died out. So it goes to show you that all this talk about being in Cincinnati, it's low level, it was high level, came out of DC, I have all their names, I have emails with their lawyers, I have letters, I have track records of all that. And I did all the legal work pro bono to help the group out. So that's number one. Number two, it seems like an unrelated point, but it's related. It's about the Lexington County Council budget. I first started reading the state paper about the budget, and I read, first of all, that the county administrator had approved a balanced budget, but that the county council had a $14 million deficit in their budget. It's $14 million more spending over revenue. And there was a sales tax increase that would cover $2.6 million in revenue, and it was still $11.4 million shortfall. So my first question was, why are we promoting a budget that is not balanced? Because that is how we got into the problems we had today with the federal. Now, we have to have a balanced budget at the state level, so my view was we should have a balanced budget at the county level, at the state level, and the federal. So I don't understand why we have a sales tax increase. We had a property tax increase last year, a property tax increase this year, and to me, if you go to zero and look at your home address, your property values look like this. So why do you have an assessment of your taxes going up when the value of your property is going down? So I think it's really important for us to draw a line in the sand and say that we want people, we're going to support balanced budgets, we're not going to support tax raises at all levels of government, and we have a changing culture where we've gone from a culture of makers to a culture of takers. There's not really enough people around like the rest of us who are working in front of people who aren't working. And we have all these programs that are expanding. So I think it's really important that we take a stand here at the county council level to say we want a balanced budget. The Lexington Town Council did have a balanced budget. I'm really concerned when you see sales tax going up, property taxes going up. At what point do you see taxes not going up? And if you don't have a balanced budget in Lexington County, which is one of the reddest counties in America, you can't balance the budget anywhere in the United States. You think about what the budget looks like in the county where you have Austin, Texas, or you have Portland, Oregon, or you have Chicago. Those budgets will be 10 times the size of what our budgets are as far as deficits. We have a $16 trillion public debt, and you have a $6 trillion debt at the state and county level, unfunded mandates. So actually have $22 trillion unfunded mandates. And my main point from this is that the larger government gets, the less accountable it is. And so when you have budgets that keep expanding, the government gets bigger, I ask you this, can you tell me what happened to the economy? None of you can tell me because none of us know the answer. And I say, okay, we'll have to do the wiretapping. Who ordered the wiretapping of 8 reporters? None of us know because Eric Holder's the investigation of Eric Holder. They say, okay, what about IRS? Who's responsible for that? Someone takes the fifth. You can't ever explain who's responsible. So I think it's really important to say that if we can't get it right in Lexington County, we can't get it right anywhere else. I think we should really be focused on that. It was a 5-4 vote. All of it took, what it taken is one person on the county council to say, no, we raised taxes before, we're not going to raise taxes again. That didn't happen. And the reason why one vote matters is because Obamacare passed with one vote. So that one vote matters at the county level or the national level. So I just wanted to say that it's important to keep fighting, and it's common sense that whether or not you're a Second Amendment activist like Bill, or you're a married car, you care about pro-life issues, or Bill Cracker, you care about the fair taxes, one thing that we do all is that we believe in balanced budgets, live within your means, and you don't have more expenses going on with revenue. And that's really simple to understand, and that should be the core of what we promote 24/7, 365.
Next item on the agenda is Rich Bowman about a June legislative barbecue. I don't know if you knew I was going to call on you about this. You emailed me about this. I'd like you to tell us just a little bit about what we usually do, because it's kind of late in the month really to plan a barbecue, but we might be able to plan at least something in July for the county party to have a get-together. And that dovetails in with some things that Mike Calvin is working on, and he's going to bring up in a minute. So I think in the last several years we've had a legislative barbecue in June. This really needs to be planned before today in order to carry it off in June. And after Tiny died, all of the legislators are going to be going in different directions. We're going to have. We also need to talk about whether or not we're going to have a meeting next month in July and August. Typically, I'm told we don't usually have a July and August meeting. And there's a lot of festivals going on that we'll need help with. Does anybody, yes sir? Okay, there's a motion on the floor that there's no meeting in July and August. There's a second. Is there any discussion? Okay, all in favor, please hold up your voting card. Okay, all opposed? The motion is carried. We will not have a meeting in July and in August. I see that the state chairman has just walked in the door. Yes, sir? Yes, sir. And that's a capital idea. I think that's fine. We have a motion on the floor to move the September meeting from the first Monday to the second Monday. Is there a second? Second, Mr. Caldwell. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please Vote. Okay, all opposed, voted in like manner. Okay, that motion is carried. Second Monday in September. Chairman Connolly, please come up and take a few moments to address.
Hello, thank you, Bill. I appreciate that. Hey, did you get a call today? Yes, I did. Your pills are all in my back. I slipped the disc somehow. Thank you, Bill. I appreciate y'all doing this and everybody here. A great crowd for June and South Carolina. Y'all kind of get it. Let's see. I wonder if I can kind of slide this way so everybody can see me. I hate having my back turned to somebody, you know. Thank y'all for coming out. I just want to tell you I appreciate your involvement. Y'all need to give Bill and where's Dwayne a big hand for stepping up. Appreciate y'all. Y'all give them a big hand for leading. Stepping up and leading at an important time in our country. I appreciate the representatives being out here. Matt, thank you for being here. Y'all give them a big hand. And then I don't see Steve. I see Tommy Plop. Thank you for your service, brother. I appreciate it very much. Give him a hand as well. Dr. Mike and Cindy are here from Aiken, I guess, tonight, but I just came to tell y'all thanks for what you do. This is an interesting time. I was in D.C. last week and went up there Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. My 16-year-old, Rich, needed some dad time, and he exempted 5 out of 6 exams. So that was pretty good, and he missed the other one by 1 point. So I drove up to D.C., and we had meetings all day Thursday and had some donor stuff and had some RNC stuff. I'm really fighting hard to increase the voice nationally because I think they need a lot more South Carolina thinking national. The RNC's got to make some hard adjustments. It's not that our message is bad, but let's face it, we're not being very smart with our messaging. You know, we're losing some places we shouldn't lose. You know, nationally we're doing okay, except in the presidential race and we're losing. And so I think that Rice is doing the right thing with the Growth and Opportunity Project, but I think there's some people on the table. I've been talking specifically to him about evangelical outreach. You know, why didn't not a jot, tittle, phrase, or a sentence in the entire Opportunity Project about our best voting block? And let's face it, we feel taken for granted. And so I've been kind of pounding that issue now for a few months with them, and hopefully they're going to do something about that. I think they are. It looks really good. And I said, hey, I'm all for reaching out. Our whole deal ought to be, our message is right. But we got to do a better job of messaging and getting that message out to people so they hear us. And I just want to say, this is where it starts. You know, I'm the guy that gets to go around and sprinkle the unity dust. I got to tell you, it's not always easy. Because we disagree too. We're a big dominant party. We're in this place of owning the deal in South Carolina. But next year, we're going to get to defend 6 U.S. congressmen, 9 constitutional officers, you know they're coming after the governor, and 2 senators. I think that's unprecedented. And if you think that the Democrats and the media won't have a heyday if we lose one of those, you got another thing coming. I saw that during this whole Mark Sanford race. And I got to tell you, this was interesting. Because we got blamed for abandoning the guy. We were the only ones who did it. And it's just a matter of people that don't know their acronyms. Y'all know that. It was the NRCC who abandoned him, not the SCGOP. And I physically turned down over 100 media requests that week that the news came out that he and his wife don't get along. How many of y'all know that divorces aren't like amicable? So it wasn't like a mystery to me, but I thought about it, I prayed about it, and I decided not to say anything. I told Hope and Alex, I appreciate Hope being here, y'all need to give her a big hand because she's doing an awesome job. I said, you know what, I think wisdom is shutting up. You know, if we say something negative, they explode that. If we say something positive, they explode that. Shut up, we're not talking to the media, they don't deserve to hear from us. And the interesting thing was, I was out in Los Angeles a few weeks before that, and I knew our donors have been tapped. I mean, it's a tough time. We just had a national election, then we got a 16-person primary, a runoff, and a general. The unions and the Democrats put over $1 million against him. I mean, it was pretty incredible. So the NRCC guy comes up to me in Los Angeles, he grabs my coat and he says, hey, we want to drop X amount of dollars to y'all at the state party level to help Mark Sanford win. I'm like, hallelujah, thank you, Jesus. I was wondering where it was coming from. So I committed X dollars to spend. Well, when the NRCC pulled out, I was on the phone with them saying, okay, leave the guy, I get it, but don't be public about it. I'll get the blame. Sure enough, they had to make an announcement. It was very negative. So their number went from X to X minus a lot. And we ended up spending an extra $100,000 on that race than we planned to spend. And I got all these people from all over the state. What are you doing to help Mark Sanford? I'm like, we're the only ones. You know, we've done phone banks and sign waving and door knocking every single day. I even rode around with him in campaign the day before the election, spent a lot of time with him. And I talked to him about King David. I said, hey, there was a guy who really goofed his life up. This is going to be up to true repentance, and he's giving you a chance, man. So it was awesome. We had a really great time together, and I knew he was going to win. I saw the response from people, how good they were treating him. And I told the media then, I'd rather have Mark Sanford there, baggage and all, than to have somebody who's a reliable vote for Nancy Pelosi any day of the week. Amen. We've got a tall task, because I got to tell you, we've been doing this thing in our Sunday school class on unity, which is an interesting topic, because when you're dominant, you know, it seems like we have people that spend more time fighting each other than they do Democrats. And you know, it's kind of like I'm married, have a wonderful wife, and I have 4 children, but we don't agree every day. We can't agree on whether to go to Burger King or Hardee's. But we don't invite the neighbors over to watch us argue. No, that's a bad idea. And all the Democrats need, the only way they beat us is divide us. We can never let dividers win because our party cannot win. And we got to be smart enough to pull that out. Hey, we can have discussions, arguments, all that good stuff. We do it right in here, we move on, because I was teaching on James 1:2-7. And in that scripture it talks about a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. And double-minded in the original Greek and Hebrew goes back to confusion. Y'all know how it is. When people are confused, they do nothing. And if we as leaders emanate confusion, we freeze our people. They don't help the down ticket races. They don't help the county races. They won't help the constitutional officers. And I got to tell you, I want to do the same thing we did in 2012. We sent volunteers to 8 other states. Those states, you wouldn't believe how nice those chairmen have been to me. Can I buy you dinner? You know, thank you. You know, you sent X number of people to help us out. Those states need South Carolina's help. But for us to really help, we got to stay strong right here in South Carolina. We got to maintain, we got to send them some help in the State House and the State Senate. We got to keep becoming more conservative. We got to keep being more reflective of our platforms, and we need y'all's help to do it. This is a time that I think we got to bear down. You know, you look back to this last election, the Democrats are pretty smart. They focused in Dorchester, Tony Danny knows this, we talked about it, Sumter, Richmond, of course, where there was some kind of purple haze floating around on election day that caused some really interesting stuff to go on, and Chesterfield. We had actually talked about it in the office about Sumter County. In 08, Obama year, they turned out 5,000 absentee votes. And I was like, there's no way they duplicate 08, ain't gonna happen. You know how many absentee votes came out in Sumter County this time around? 18,000. So they beat Tony Barwick for Senate by that and the Richland County mess. But the real interesting thing happened in Chesterfield County, which we're filing a lawsuit and we're chasing it through the solicitor, because it was amazing. 2,200 people up there voted absentee more than requested absentee ballot. Man, that's a great turnout machine, man. And by the way, all 2,200 have already moved away from Chesterfield County since November. It's a miracle. It's a miracle. But anyway, it got even better. I don't know if I told you this, Mike, but it got better. On Saturday before the election, the chairman up there, he had gone in. We knew we had a problem 7 days into early, absentee voting. Not early voting, but they take it as early voting. Because he calls me, he says, Chad, we got a problem. When I went to sign up and vote early, they didn't have me sign a sheet. I'm like, what? He said, the lady told me that we'd have to sign in. The computers did that. I said, no, you have to sign in so the computer can be loaded and you know who's already voted and who hasn't. Well, we didn't sign in. I said, you need to go get that fixed. But it got better, because on Saturday before the election, they opened up 2 boxes, 2 machines, voted absentee on Saturday, which is not a problem. It's not illegal. But you're supposed to let the county parties know. And sure enough, the Democrat, bless his heart, he was what a good guy. He gave a barbecue about 50 yards away from those voting machines working. What a good guy, right? That's smart. And so we never got notification. But to give you an idea, throughout election day, on election day when people were staffing the machine, South Carolina voters, except Richland County, average about 20 people voting per hour, per machine. But in Chesterfield County, on Saturday, when 2 machines were open, they averaged 251 people voting per hour for 2 machines. That's speed voting, man. Speed voting. And sure enough, we're having to pursue that. But you got to think, they concentrated their firepower. We got to do a better job on election day and poll watchers. We got to remember that the people who run those machines on election day are in charge of the buck. Y'all, I got to tell you this quick story. And this happened actually. This actually happened. I think it was here in Lexington County with Mac Tool. He did this big party, big banquet one time, and he was in charge of a couple thousand people, big event, and he made sure everybody went through the line, everybody had eaten. Him and his assistant were the last two through. You remember this? And he gets there, and this little old lady, and she's giving out pats of butter. That's her job. And she gives one pat of butter. Being a good state house member, he doesn't want to offend her. He wants to feel haughty about his position. He says, ma'am, if it's not too much trouble, I'll just like one extra pat of butter. She said, I'm sorry, that's all you get. He said, well, ma'am, I'm looking around, and I think everybody's eating. There's a whole plate of butter pats. Can I just get one more pat of butter? I'm sorry, that's all you get. Well, the assistant's getting really mad. Hey, look, lady, this guy's in the state house. He's important. He needs one more pat of butter. I don't care who he is. Everybody got one pat of butter? He gets one pat of butter. The assistant then says, wait a minute, lady. He's in charge of this whole banquet. She said, I don't care. I'm in charge of the butter. We got to remember that those people, some of them been there since the earth was cooling, they're in charge of the butter. We got to be better at communicating. We got to be better at being present. I believe with all my heart, people are going to run to the Republican Party. Maybe even in Newberry County. We still have Republicans around all there. But I believe because Obama's stuff's so bad, Democrats' policies are so bad, I believe people are going to come to us. But here's what it's going to take. We got to have a happy face on. We got to say, we take out the Republican Party. You know what? We're not perfect. Y'all admit that? My wife and kids aren't perfect. Maybe people who demand perfection, maybe they have perfect lives, and that's how they can demand perfection out of me and you. But I tell you, we got a great message. We just got to put a happy face on. We got to speak with unity to us. We got to tell like Reagan did, if you're 8% of my friend, that doesn't make you 20% of my enemy. We got to find the things that unite us, not divide us. We got to realize that division causes confusion and people do nothing. And I tell you, if we lose one of those constitutional officers, or a senator, or a congressman, or even a state house or state senate member, they're going to take advantage of that, and that's all the Democrats and the media need to divide us and split us apart. That's the only way they win. What you're doing right here, gathering the leaders that have stepped up, that's what it takes to really make this thing happen, to stay where we are, and to increase the conservative majorities in the House and the Senate. I just can't tell you thank you. I appreciate you being involved. I appreciate you being out on a warm June night. I appreciate Rich Bowl and all he's done for the party over here. A lot of them. You guys are my heroes. I just want to tell you thank you. God bless y'all. I appreciate it.
Next on the agenda is approval of minutes. Does everyone have minutes with you? We've got more copies of them up here. Chairman, I have one correction. Yes. Please. And I'm sorry, this is a typo error, but it needs to be corrected. On the down there where we were talking about the chairman weighing in. You mean,
It's not a typo, Mike.
I understood that typo, so let's make that correction. Thank you, sir. Are there any other corrections to the minutes? Does everyone have a copy of the minutes? We will post them up. Okay. All right, then I'll entertain a motion that we, with that correction, we accept the minutes. Okay, motion is made. Is there a second? Okay. Motion and second. Is there any discussion about that? All in favor? Okay. All opposed? Okay, minutes are approved. That brings us to old business. Is there any old business? Is there any old business to bring up? Okay, new business. Mike? Okay.
I just have a couple things.
Right here, speak up.
I put recently
is a paper on your table. Some of you, if somebody didn't get any, come to me. But what it is, we have a couple different things. One sheet I give you guys a list of the high schools. I think I got them all except airport because you've already got something going there. This is for anybody who knows an administrator or a teacher at one of these schools. If you do, if you could just put your name and information under that school, because we're trying to get, teenage Republican parties, little groups at these schools. So we need to get in contact with teachers or administrators, someone to sponsor the group. So if you know anyone, if you could just put your name under that school and let me know, give it to me. The second thing, okay.
Sound off, Mike. You really got.
So anybody,
You ain't got it.
basically this is just the list of the high schools. Essentially, I'm trying to get a teenage Republican group at every high school. So if anyone knows an administrator or a teacher at one of these, if they put their information under that school and they give it to me so we can contact them and try to get something started in that school. I'd like to have one at every one if possible. The next thing I gave you guys was, it's just a tentative list of different events and festivals in the county. If there's something to add or something that you want taken off, let me know. But essentially, it's just giving us ideas.
Just interrupt. If there's a festival coming up, and Mike has a number of them listed here, if there's a festival coming up that's not on this list, let Mike know. Also, if you are a district vice chair or a precinct executive committee member or president, and one of these festivals is in your area, I insist that you get with Mike and help coordinate and be part of it. We need a presence there. If we can get together, when we can get vehicles, we can get people walking. I definitely want to get a booth at all of these things. We are conservative. Look around this room, there are 70 people here. Maybe a little bit more. There's a lot of people who couldn't come here. So I'm sure that we can get together and take part in these festivals and get the word out there that Republicans are the warm and friendly, fuzzy guys and gals that you want to be part of.
I know exactly. I mean, there might be some I don't have on here. I was told earlier that I missed the open strut. I apologize. But yeah, if there's something you think that should be on there, give me a call. Put your, I have my information at the bottom. Give me a call or email me. Let me know what might have been missed. We'll put it on there. Anybody wants to be a part of something, just let me know. We'll make sure we are. I mean, like Bill was saying, we should try to have tables as many as we can. But some of them, you aren't really necessarily going to have a table. I mean, we have things like even golf tournaments. We could maybe sponsor a tee or a hole. Or if you have golfers here that want to get involved, maybe we could even sponsor a team to help go out there and show people who we are. But we have a bunch of different Christmas items. So there are a lot of things we can get involved in to just get our name out there wherever we are. So when people are out there, they see us. And then the last thing I have are a list of committees. We have quite a few committees here. If we could get as many people as possible, get involved in these committees. You want to be involved in the party, this is exactly the way to do it. Be a part of the committee. So if there's a committee on here you're interested in, please just put your information on there and turn it into it, and we'll get you set up on these committees. To me, this is the lifeblood of our party, right here at these committees. But that is the lifeblood of the party, so if you really want to get involved in the party and make a difference in the party, please help me get involved in the committees.
And if they don't volunteer, we're going to if they don't volunteer for committees, we're going to sign them up.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to sign up randomly if you don't volunteer. So, if you don't sign up for committee one, you might get all of the committee, but go on. Yeah, you know what that is. The other thing I'd like to, I don't know if I make a motion for this, but I want to talk with the chair about possibly having a Christmas committee. I'm thinking maybe we should add to the Christmas committee the summer barbecue so that you have an event in the summer, an event in the winter that we're always planning for. So that it's not just kind of left out there. I don't know if that's something we can do, but it's a consideration. That's it. That's everything I have. And thanks. I know I'm saying something we have in the barbecue. Yes. Join the committee. Pick one. Please, be part of the party, join the committee.
Way to condense that down. Okay, thank you, Mike. Is there any other new business? You want to? the couple here who has been married the longest?
Most of you have to be here.
Both of you have to be here. Is anybody?
What about the
20 years. Anybody got over 20? Your wife here?
one of the nicest couples?
I have a letter here from the West Metro Republican Women's Club. It says, Dear Mr. Chairman, and Dutch Fork Women's Republican Club. Dear Mr. Chairman, as President of the West Metro Republican Women's Club and President of the Dutch Fork Republican Women's Club, we are requesting a donation from the Lexington County Republican Party, a sponsor fee in the amount of $500. Each to help in our participating as delegates to the State Republican Women's Club biannual convention and the National Federation of Republican Women's biannual convention, both to be held this year. We make that a motion and ask that the executive committee vote in our favor. We note from the budget report that funds are available for this purpose. With grateful appreciation, Jeff Kellerman, President, West Metro Republican Women's Club, Mickey Lindler, President, Dutch Fork Republican Women's Club. So we have a motion from these two ladies that we provide a sponsored fee in the amount of $500 for these conventions, biannual conventions. Is there a second? Here. Hold your card. There you go. Second. Is there any discussion? Question?
I'm sorry, I mean, and I'm not thinking I'm bad at the time of this, but, I mean, these requests are going to keep on coming our way, apparently. I mean, we've already had, the young Republican, the teenage Republican guy came last time, and he came again this time, and I don't blame him. I mean, I understand that he has to have the money in order to go to that thing, and I do think this is what he called. But I think that we need to refer something to the Rules Committee, and I believe that as Republicans, we should charge these people if they are accepting some funds from us, we do it as matching funds, so that they have to raise some money somewhere else to get our matching funds. Now, I'm not speaking on behalf of this, but I think we do need to refer something to the Rules Committee and come up with some idea of some way to qualify this, or else every organization is going to come to us and ask us for money. And I'm not opposed to that, because we are as long as it's pertains to the Republican cause. I just don't know what who all was going here. I mean, if we have some clarification on that and how much that's going to cost.
Okay. Point taken. Can you, Nikki or Deb, can you clarify who it is that's going to these events?
Actually, the president of each club is the automatic delegate. My particular one, I'm going to be, probably won't be able to go, but I can certainly match the money. We had it on credit for $92. And the rooms alone was $699. And we all know the work that these women puts up for every one of the elected officials, and look around everybody represented in some urban West End Road. It's just a request that we have, for representation,
Was there any did that answer the question, Mike, about who's going?
Oh, yeah, no, and I wasn't thinking so much for this, right? Okay, I mean, but in the future, if we can come up with some way of, we need an application, I believe, or something, or maybe a review committee, so we just don't get inundated with request after request after request from people. And I'm not saying that this is not a worthy cause. I would admit, and I'll support that, but I would like to see something
something changed in the future, that there's an application process and someone vets this out just a little bit.
In the future.
I understand.
Worst case, you can challenge.
There was more discussion, right?
Worst case, you can put it on the steering committee for approval prior to coming to the committee.
Yeah, that's true. We can put it to the steering committee.
Point of order,
was
we
there
did bring
something?
it up. We
That's right.
did bring it up.
Yeah, other comments, discussions?
I just wanted to know how many more of these women's clubs, and they ask you wanting to go to this.
There's 2 in Lexington County.
Just,
Repeat your question.
yeah, but
Yeah.
tell us what's being said.
Yeah, she asked how many more clubs like this are there in Lexington County, and these are the only 2 clubs like this in Lexington County.
Call for the question, Mr. Chairman.
All right, I still have some discussion. Would you hold that for one more question? Yes.
I totally agree with what Mike said. I think there's a lot of good things that we can spend money on, but I think we have to be very careful how we spend the money. I love the idea about application and that it's submitted. I don't think it's good that we just give money like we did last time. In fact, I gave the guy a check also, but I think we should have a period of time where we think about it, ponder it over, and I'd like to know, I can give you the paperwork tonight, how much money do we have at this point available in our, how much money do we have to trade, right?
Right, unfortunately, we don't have the treasurer here tonight, but we did have his report at the last meeting, and I think it was just a bit in excess of 8,000 or just under 8,000.
And don't we have to
And-
keep a certain amount in there? Don't we
Well,
have-
and I don't think there's been a significant number of expenditures over the past month that I know of. But Lyman White had called for the question, so,
Further discussion.
but that's what call for the question means, it means cutting off discussion, but, and I apologize for that. So, all in favor of,
Didn't you just ask for further discussion?
We're calling for the question, so we're voting in debate. Right, I mean, so it's only the idea that in debate, and then vote, and then, so we'll have to take 2 votes here. We'll have to take a vote to in debate.
okay, all right.
And then we'll vote to actually.
All right, so all in favor of ending discussion? How many is that?
I think he's got a question.
Okay, all in favor of not ending the debate? Anybody? Raise your hand.
Bill,
Yes.
do those people down there know that somebody else wanted to speak before they
No, we
voted?
didn't know that, we can't
Yeah.
hear everything.
Lee Kennedy from Red Bank, the executive committee from Red Bank, still had some questions that he wanted to ask. What we're doing now is can everybody hear me? Can everybody hear me down here? What we're doing now is we're voting whether or not to cut off debate. And that would mean that Lee Kennedy could not pose his question. Okay, is everybody clear on that?
Yes.
Okay, so, all in favor of ending debate, vote. Okay, all opposed to ending debate, vote. Okay, debate is not ended. Recognize Lee Kennedy for your question.
Yeah, I'd like to agree with people who've had some reservations. I think we need to have some sort of process where we think about doling money out like this, and it happens real quick like that. I don't think we're putting enough thought into it. I really think there should be some criteria set up ahead of time before we just go throwing money out willy-nilly. I say that because the main reason we raise money is for this group, for our functions, and it's not to dole out to people just here and there, whoever may come out with their hat in hand. Another thing I'd like to suggest is that we be very generous, offering them time to come up and pass the hat around themselves. We as individuals, we are conservatives. I think acting on an individual level, we are generous and would probably, in some cases, raise even more money that way.
Dwayne.
I'd like to make a motion to table this pending further discussion and set up some rules on how we should distribute funds.
Okay, there's a motion to table this particular, and a second. The motion to table, if I understand correctly, takes precedent.
First of all,
Yes, sir?
when I call for the question,
Yes, sir.
that is, now, you let it, let the young lady speak again. Then you went back and you voted again, and you changed the whole thing around. All I'm saying is, let's follow the procedure. And I'm totally agreeable with what he's saying too.
But I'm certain that people didn't understand that there was still someone who wanted to speak. But,
So wherever we stand, right now, they can pull on.
yes, sir.
We have an extra vote, our county, like, and I took high school math in college.
Okay. So, Robert, could we get an opinion from you as science parliamentarian on?
Well, there was a call for a question. There was a vote. That vote should stand.
Okay.
People down there could not hear.
If you go back and change that by adding additional.
I don't think they can.
That's the time to vote.
Robert, okay, I don't think they can hear you over here.
No, that's what I said. Before you voted, the people down there couldn't hear. They didn't know somebody else still wanted to speak.
Yeah.
But you still had people voting at both ends of the room.
Yeah, did you see the way the vote went? Everybody down there voted to
I
end
understand
discussion.
that,
People
but
down
the
there
thing is,
voted.
if everyone on both sides of the room heard enough that they could vote, then I think they heard enough to follow the rules. So then
The second vote was really
the
good.
second vote would have to be nullified. So then what we've done
Is my motion to table is still in order after the debate is closed.
Okay, all right, well, Dwayne said that he has a motion to table pending further discussion. I believe that we had a second, was that? Okay. Did we even discuss the motion to table? Okay, it's tabled without a vote. We still vote, yeah. Okay, so, can everybody hear me? I want to make sure you all hear me. There's a motion to table this pending further discussion, and a second. All in favor of tabling, please raise your card. I see 22. Okay, 23.
Bill,
Yeah.
may I ask a question?
Let's finish the vote, please.
Well, let's finish the vote. All opposed to tabling the vote, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Any others? Okay, 9, so it is tabled. Please go ahead and stand and speak.
I think everybody can hear me, I have a big mouth. Let's hold it on. The conventions that the money is for are in September and October. So
We have very little time.
we don't have a whole lot of time. The problem is we have to get reservations now. The hotel can be $600, it kills me. But that would be more than one woman in the room. I know for a fact that Nikki will have probably 5 in her room. Okay, but it's not our choice to be the most expensive hotel, so that's where they decide to want. Now, I know I'm probably working in one in September, and we don't know how many delegates we're going to have.
Can't hear you down here.
We don't have a number of how many delegates from our groups can go. And we just want to be able to provide more of them the ability to go. We're not really trying to dig our own field, because I can actually double what we do.
So what we need to do is we need to get together
Yes.
and discuss this at length and make a decision within the month of June.
Yeah, and if you want Vicki and I to meet with all the committees to discuss what's going to be part of that fund, because it's going to have to be split between 2 conventions.
And I think we can facilitate that with a motion that,
Yeah, well, since it's an issue, let's make a motion that Vicki and Deb, you come speak to the steering committee here in June, and we'll discuss it based on the criteria and everything like that. And then if we need to vote on an executive committee, we'll schedule a special executive committee, even though we just voted not to meet in July and August, so we can go ahead and deal with it.
that
So if that's
something
fine
that
with
works?
everybody else, let's make a motion to do that.
But I think we also certainly did power to go ahead and set up a rule on how we should distribute the funds, and then apply it to this, and if this meets those rules, to grant it. I mean, if you can.
Did everybody hear that?
No.
Okay, would you repeat your amendment and you can.
I said let them come speak to the steering committee. The steering committee will establish the criteria, look at the matching funds, whatever's the best case scenario. And then Dwayne just added, let the steering committee have the leeway to make the decision on what the rules should be there, and then we just go by that. And if we want to discuss it as executive committee, we'll schedule a special executive committee meeting to discuss it if we need to open it that way. Or, you know.
Does everybody understand that motion? I just see here in the headlines. Everybody understand that motion? Okay. So then, the motion is to have a steering committee meeting this month and let both of these women's clubs come, bring a representative and state their case. And we can either, if I understand you, we can either make a decision there on the criteria.
Technically, within the rules, we can do it.
Okay. Is everybody okay with let's put that for we've got a motion. We have a
Question, has the check been issued already to the young teenage Republicans from the last meeting?
without the treasurer here, I can't answer that.
Because I would believe, okay, you know,
And I was speaking on behalf of, the future bids.
Yeah.
Not the bid, okay?
Yeah.
So, I told them.
Okay. So the motion on the floor is to have an additional steering committee meeting this month and have the two ladies from these two Republican women's clubs come and present to the steering committee. And we can make a decision at that point. Is that your
That's my motion.
Okay.
Somebody say it.
Okay.
Steering committee already agreed to it.
It was brought up before the steering committee, and we decided to bring it before y'all. Yeah.
So, the steering committee already made it.
Well, that's also before we voted on the criteria and setting up a rule. Because, you know, we have set a precedence now that we have been doling out some money. Now, the bad news is we got to set up the criteria and make sure the rules are.
Right.
No,
Right.
we voted to table it, and then the motion is to let them come, let the steering committee establish the rules, the criteria of either matching or whether we vote on it, just let them do it and go from there.
So that's the motion. Is there a second? Second. Okay. More discussion? All in favor of the steering committee meeting and with these two groups during this month? That looks like a pretty hefty majority. All opposed? I don't see any. Okay, motion carried. If you would schedule a meeting of the executive committee and let these two ladies know the steering committee and let these two ladies know when it will be. Is there any other new business? Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'd like to make one comment before I leave. Don't forget, these ladies, did not have the tip on. Don't forget these ladies have done a good job.
Absolutely, yes. And I would like to, not during new business, I've got a point here during announcements that Kurt Pitchy and Creekside Restaurant and his delightful staff have opened their doors to us, provided us with some wonderful bill of fare, and I very much would love for us to give them a round of applause and gratitude for letting us do that. So, is there any other new business?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
Mary, the executive committee that Mary Carr made a point last meeting, I would ask at that point you refer to the rules committee and be brought back to this committee.
Yes, okay. the state building ballot, the delegate ballot amount that we, the $20, $10. All right. No, that.
Bill.
Yes, sir.
We need a sound system.
Yes, yes. This is a wonderful venue, but we definitely need to bring something where we can have, I guess, a little bit better acoustic. Maybe I'll get a bullhorn from the fire department.
Or from me. You can borrow mine.
Great idea, great idea. Okay, that's a good point, sir. Yes, sir?
This is very official. Show me the second.
Yeah, was that an actual motion? Or?
Well, I think it was just asking the chair to refer to the committee.
Yeah, okay. Okay, if there's no other new business, then we go into announcements. Are there any announcements and public comments?
I will. We have First Tuesday Republican Club, that's Republicans from just these two counties. We meet tomorrow at 12:45 at Brooklyn Baptist. We go through the buffet, it's $15. We have 2 surprise announcements running for Superintendent of Education and 1 surprise announcement running for Comptroller General. And we also have a report. Our chairman made a report last month, Lexington County, and Richmond will have their report tomorrow. So invite y'all to come. Also, Lyman and I are on the Lexington County Foundation Board, and we are probably in September, don't hold me to the month, but our fire department and those in New York are going to have a run. And we hope to raise enough money to give the New York firefighters $5,000, and we can have $5,000. I don't run, but Mike from the Irmo Fire Department has promised to run for me. So look for that, please. That's a very worthy cause, and y'all all know anybody who are cancer survivors, breast cancer survivors, know the good work that the Lexington County Medical Center Foundation does. So, and we have some here who are survivors, and we just appreciate everything they're doing. So look for that. That's something really great. All of our legislators are going to run. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Are there other announcements? Yes, sir.
Just a question before you announcement. When is the next festival or next couple of festivals? Where are they?
Mike, do you know?
Well, the very next one I know of is the Peace Festival.
Peach Festival.
What's the date?
4th of July.
4th of July. The Silver Beach Festival.
So I'll be putting stuff on the webpage because we're not having a meeting, obviously, and it wouldn't be till then anyway. So there'll be stuff up on the webpage about it. If we're going to be able to have a table, or if we're just going to, make her, give herself a presence out there of some type. But it'll be on the webpage.
Since we're already having another steering committee meeting in June, we can talk about whether or not we can get a booth or a parade float at the Gilbert Beach Festival during that meeting. And we'll send out a call for volunteers for that. Other announcements?
Is that district vice chair?
That'll be Eddie McCain. Eddie McCain will be
Eddie McCain. Okay. Was there another announcement?
Almost.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
On June the 30th, Grace Baptist Church will be putting on their annual patriotic service. We would like for all of you to come. We're not as flamboyant as First Baptist Church, but we do have a good service. And this year we are going to be focusing in on the Korean War veterans. So if you know of anybody that is a Korean War veteran, would you please let me know? Okay?
Thank you. Thank you. I'd like to thank Ron Kellerman for videotaping. I really appreciate it. I'm big on transparency, I like being under the microscope at all times. Kind of look to be center stage. You guys, some of you guys don't know that I have my entire life dealt with self-esteem issues. I didn't say low self. Okay. Mr. Chairman, just one minute. Yes, sir.
I would ask that you would send out the announcement for when the next county council meeting is, along with the people who voted for and against the tax increase.
Absolutely.
This has happened 2 years in a row.
Wonderful.
I mean, something must stop. And I mean, it says $10 upon $10 upon $10.
And I plan on being at that meeting.
Yeah, so they need to hear from us. And I will tell you, I'm the first one who missed it too. But I think we need to do just a little bit better job when that stuff comes up.
Absolutely. Thank you. Yes.
Maybe,
Point out that nobody appeared before council at a separate reading opposed to taxes. Now, you point that finger one comes back up, they'll all be there. Nobody.
Yeah, we do need to be
Nobody's
here.
spoken against.
I know a lot's going on, and many of us, would love to be at any meeting where they try to raise our taxes, especially when they have a lot of funds. Summer, you got another?
I was just gonna say, sometimes people don't know because it's available online and they can sit and watch it when they're home.
But you can't speak out.
Yeah. Okay, any other announcements?
Move to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. What? We have a motion and a second.
Did something else?
All in favor of adjourning? Raise your card. Okay, all opposed? We are adjourned.